Fucking you throw mothballs from a nursing home. You a pot calling the kettle motherfucking black. Okay, you and Joe Biden look the same motherfucking age and you 20 years young.
This dude's gotta be mad if he's starting the video off in roast mode.
See, I don't understand how you can sit here and talk about somebody not having the ability to lead, saying that an 80-year-old man cannot run this damn country, as if Joe Biden ain't running the goddamn country motherfucking right now.
More like running it into the ground.
Did he not just run us out of a motherfucking pandemic?
Are we though? April of last year. January of this year.
Did he not run us to lower inflation?
Meh.
Did he not run us to create millions of new goddamn jobs?
I don't know what news you've been reading, but here in the real world, the lucky ones are the people who are able to live paycheck to paycheck. I don't know if you've heard, but more and more people are finding it impossible to live indoors. And if that's not bad enough, some people are just completely giving up.
He not run our asses and to be able to invest in infrastructure.
Could we please not rehash the hellish nightmare of a process that was the infrastructure bill? I don't want to have to go back to thinking about Joe Manchin, Kirsten Sinema, or a parliamentarian.
See, if you want to talk about substance, let's talk about damn substance.
Ooh, it's time for the main course. Let's do this, baby.
You the same motherfucker acting like the internet ain't fucking forever, as if your ass wasn't supporting Bernie in 2020.
Wow, baby driver, how quickly you shift gears. I wasn't even aware that Bernie Sanders was running in 2024.
The same Bernie Sanders who had a heart attack and you were still supporting him after the fact.
Bernie Sanders is older than Joe Biden, but when Bernie Sanders speaks, he can form more than 2 coherent on-topic sentences without having to stop and tell us to forget everything he was just talking about.
So the best way to get something done, if it holds near and dear to you that you like to be able to, anyway, we're ready to get a lot done.
Bernie still has all his marbles up here, whereas Joe's marbles have a habit of always being in his mouth.
America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was
I'm struggling to remember any instance of Bernie Sanders mentioning that he just spoke to a long-since deceased world leader.
Right after I was elected, I went to what they call a G7 meeting, all the NATO leaders. I was in the south of England. And I sat down and I said, America's back. And Mitterrand from France looked at me and said, you know, how long are you back for?
When Bernie Sanders speaks, I wonder why he's such a sellout. When Joe Biden speaks, I wonder what the fuck even was that sentence.
Play the radio. Make sure the television, make sure you have the record player on at night. The phone. Make sure the kids hear words.
Joe Biden, being as smart as he is, already told us what the fuck it was, and he had to work within the confines of the laws that already existed and maneuver us to get $136 billion worth of student loan debt.
And yet, somehow, so many Americans are still drowning in their college debt. It's almost like all that money didn't even scratch the surface. Too bad every person racked with student debt is in a foreign nation at war, because then Congress would whip up a bill within hours curing student debt for generations to come.
It seems like this man knows what he's doing.
We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by you know the thing.
But y'all are talking about so focused on his gas. He been a gas king all his motherfucking life.
Trust me, I am well aware of it. I don't know how old you are.
I'm 30.
Joe Biden is one of the first people I remember running for president back in the day when he was stealing British guys' speeches and padding up his college portfolio.
Robin Williams did a whole special about Joe Biden and his gas.
Yeah, and when Robin Williams was doing that bit, he wasn't mentioning things like this.
Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
Or this.
$1.2 billion in overtime was denied for hourly workers who are not unionized. $1.2 billion. So you go ahead and you stack spaghetti sauce at a store and in a supermarket. You control the guy or the woman who brings out the carts on a forklift. What happens? They make you management. You can't get paid overtime.
Or even this.
I have a record that is second to none. The NAACP's endorsed me every time I've run. Come on.
The NAACP does not endorse candidates for political office at any level.
Joe Biden ain't going no motherfucking where. There is nobody to replace him because guess what? The primary deadlines for most of the states for you to even get to be the nominee is over and done with.
I actually agree. It is beyond late to be talking about replacing Joe Biden, but I'm curious, what are your thoughts on why people are so concerned about his cognitive abilities?
It's about his predecessor. It's about Vice President Kamala Harris and her blackness and the fact that she's a black woman and she's competent and she's ready to lead.
Wait a minute. Didn't you just say...
Joe Biden ain't going no motherfucking where. There is nobody to replace him.
So if I have this correct, your theory is that Republicans hate Kamala Harris so much that they're looking for any excuse to yoink Joe Biden out of the race, leaving her, his natural successor, to be the 2024 nominee? I mean, that's got to be the stupidest plan ever. Are they not aware that she is the most popular politician to have ever walked this earth? At the risk of breaking your heart, the reason why Biden's cognitive functioning is the talk of the town is because his own Department of Justice used it as a reason why they're not going to pursue prosecution.
I'm Joe Biden, and I approve this message.